All right, back for another round of vintage. AQVJ. No results. Okay. What does my hand do? I'm on the draw. My hand goes turn one sphere and wasteland you. All right. Oh no. So that probably means wasteland gets shut off. But I can potentially Ghost Quarter lock my opponent in a few turns instead. Their deck list is somewhat like mine. They'll have one swamp. Should I play my own Spyglass here to stop one of their potential haymakers and then also Ghost Quarter them? Probably play Crucible next turn. I think playing my own Sphere here puts me out of Crucible range next turn, so that doesn't seem great to me. Ah. Oh well. That is mighty interesting. I'm gonna name something that isn't in my deck. And I'm gonna downgrade their land quality. Ooh, they don't have a basic. Can't play Crucible this turn. I could play a Sphere. I don't know that playing a Sphere is good. Like, my game plan long term probably is going to be kill this Revoker and then try to stabilize the board. And doing something that doesn't allow me to continuously hit land drops or lock my opponent out of the game doesn't seem good. Revoker on Mox Ruby now. Or are you going to hold it and try to get something like a Karn later? No, they are going to Spyglass. Seems kind of like opponent needs to name Ghost Quarter even though they have two Ghost Quarters. Ooh. I'm going to be able to do serious work on my opponent's mana base. So now I'm probably going to come full circle to the point where the spheres are good. Basic land. I'm going to take a couple of hits from this Revoker. My opponent only has 2 mana right now. So Trinisphere can stop them from casting something that costs 0 or 2. But Sphere might just be better. Sphere is going to stack up pretty well over time. Makes my Stone Coil Serpent a little bit worse, but I'm not worried about that. I'm going to cast it for a stupidly large number anyway. Oh, that's a win condition. That also kind of incentivizes me to just play a large Stone Coil Serpent this turn. The pressure I put on my opponent is kind of a big deal. Yep, and we got the concession from the opponent there. I'm guessing this is the pile of stuff that I can consider. On the draw, I really don't feel like I want to be playing a lot of the restricted cards. Like Trinisphere, Chalice, Thorn, Fear, like this sort of stuff seems way less good on the draw than on the play. It seems like this is the sort of stuff that is going to matter in the matchup, not this stuff. This stuff is ancillary. On the play, I can see trying to leverage some of it because, like, you can play out your artifact mana and your opponent can't, but on the draw, this stuff doesn't seem great to me. I could just go, like, 7 for 7. There's a world where I want to leave one Wormcoil in the board to Karn for. but I assume that like Karn plussing and just blowing up a permanent every turn is pretty good in Vintage. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this hand. It can become very bad depending on like what my opponent does on their turn one. Like a Chalice on 0, for example, is very good. That, less so. 6 potential turn 1 mana. Unless they're mana abilities. Those are very important words. I do kind of need to answer this quickly. I don't want to leave my opponent with an unchecked workshop. I can jump block with a Revoker for a turn if I need to. I think this is worth my time. My opponent knows that I have a basic swamp, so ghost quartering me might not really seem like a great proposition. I don't have Mox Ruby, right? I don't. Not the best for me, admittedly. Golos is legendary. Golos now also costs 6. It is close. It costs 6. It's not an artifact. I only have 5 this turn. It also doesn't cast Golos. think I'm probably chump blocking with Revoker this turn. Maybe don't have to do it until Lethal's being presented, but I might just cash in my life before something silly like a Walking Ballista picks off Revoker. Yeah, I'm under just a little bit too much pressure here. That sphere is probably the difference between life and death for my opponent. Otherwise, Golos picking me up a couple of lands seems really good. Don't have a Wormcoil there, right? I don't have a Wormcoil there. This is an X5. It's an X5. All right. All right. So I can just take a workshop, and then my opponent is incentivized to Ghost Quarter it. It's fine. My opponent will bounce the Golos, and then on my next turn I can Wasteland the Caracas and then replay the Golos. Oh, interesting. Why would you not bounce the Golos? Seems very good to me. Yes, I will. I will trade. I will absolutely trade. Wonder if my opponent is testing for Vintage Eternal Weekend and doesn't play a ton. I don't know. I also could be wrong, and I could be missing something instead. Oh, that is a boon of a draw. Let's play this. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess 6. Play the Golos. Take my own Caracas now, I think. I will Wasteland your Caracas. And I think Wasteland your Inventor's Fair, so you can't cash that in for a card. So I have a Crucible and my opponent doesn't, so if my opponent Ghost Quarters my Caracas, I can get it back. Fortunately, the swamp is in our hand, and has been in our hand for a while. I think I just limit my opponent's options here. I think I play the Wasteland, Wasteland them. A5 for Karn. And my opponent has conceded. Good stuff. I was able to come back from a relatively difficult position there. That was pretty fun.